Adams Archive.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into it here. The very first article that we're going to discuss is coming from CNN, nonetheless. Now, the reason I found this to be ironic is the fact that, the irony involved in it. Meta bans Russian state media outlet RT over foreign interference activity. That's interesting. So, let's go ahead and read this, because the irony that this article sits on CNN is hilarious. Because if Facebook's going to remove any news outlet that is associated with the government and pushing propaganda, the first one that they would have to remove would be CNN. So, here we go. It says, Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, announced Monday, let me go ahead and share this with my screen here if you're watching, announced Monday that it has banned Russian state media broadcaster RT and other Kremlin-controlled networks, alleging the outlets have engaged in deceptive influence operations and attempted to evade detection. After careful consideration, we expanded our ongoing enforcement against Russian state media outlets. Rossiya Sagadinia, I don't know how you pronounce that. RT and other related entities are now banned from our apps globally for foreign interference activity, a Meta spokesperson said in a statement. Prior to Monday's ban, RT had 7.2 million followers on Facebook and 1 million followers on Instagram. RT did not immediately respond to CNN for comment. The move comes days after the U.S. Justice Department announced charges against 2 RT employees for funneling nearly $10 million into a U.S. company identified by CNN as Tenant Media to create and amplify content that aligned with Russian interests. The covert influence campaign was aimed at the American public ahead of the 2024 U.S. presidential election, U.S. officials said. Tenant Media boasts a slate of high-profile, right-wing, pro-Trump commentators, including Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, and several others. All of them have released statements saying that they are victims of the alleged Russian scheme. After the Justice Department announcement, RT responded with mocking statements that did not address it. It was actually pretty hilarious, the response that they made. They basically just laughed at them. The Kremlin commented that in the ban by Meta on Tuesday. With these actions, Meta is discrediting itself. This complicates the prospects for normalizing our relations with Meta. Definitely somewhat true. Now, where I see this being a problem is the fact that if you're going to run with that, essentially, you're now saying that if anybody's a state-run media that is pushing any type of propaganda, like the CIA interfering with our elections, the NIH having a portal to discuss what content should be removed from Meta and Twitter and all of these other organizations, right? Like, we know 100% they have the same access to the news outlets. So what is the bar here being set? Because if this is the bar, almost every single major news outlet has to get kicked off of Facebook and Instagram. It says executives from Meta, Microsoft, and Alphabet, which owns Google, are expected to testify before the Senate Intelligence Committee on Wednesday on their platform's work to combat foreign relations to U.S. elections. So this is them trying to fix without fixing the election, right? They're not going to do it in the same way. Mark Zuckerberg said, well, he just said this. Mark Zuckerberg just said he wasn't going to interfere. Not allowing a organization which is representing essentially a country in their position on news to be seen by citizens. Why? Because you think we're stupid? This is where the privacy or the conversation surrounding censorship really bothers me. Like, who are you to discern anything? Who are you to tell me who to listen to and who not to listen to, right? Like, that would be your mom and your dad in high school telling you, oh, that's a bad friend. Don't listen to them. It's like, no, let me judge for myself. I'm an adult. I'm intelligent, very, very likely much more intelligent than any individual of the government that's making these types of decisions. So let me use my discernment, because you don't get to tell me what's truth and what's not truth. Who's a factually based network and who's not. That's not how this works. Freedom of speech has to go both ways, right? Now it says, well, this is the CNN comment section, so this should be interesting. It says if they are banning deceptive influence operations, then the Harris campaign must be next. Yeah. Okay, so moving on. I thought that to be interesting. It is quite ironic that it is Meta that is banning all of these, the Russian state media, when they were the ones taking directions from our government. They were the controlled media. They were. That's exactly who they were. And now they're just doing what they're being told again by the Harris campaign, because they don't want any information or news coming out from the entities that want to, I don't know, stop the war that they're in and not continue it like Kamala Harris would.
Adams Archive.